our camp for the night. We're now driving around the coast to Trondheim and Trondheim. Yeah, Trondheim. Sorry, not Trondheim. Just been corrected. To Trondheim. We'll be spending the day in there. Hopefully, the weather will hold off. It's not forecast to, but that's our plans for the day. So we'll see how we get on. But it's just a bit of a coast road for us around there. I don't think it's the widest road in the world, but the views are quite good. There's Trondheim in front of us. Must admit, it doesn't quite look as exciting or as welcoming as the other cities that we've been into so far, but you never know. I mean, so far I think Stavanger was the by far and away the best city. I mean, Oslo was pretty cool as well, to be fair, but, okay, we're at park for the day and night. It's about 10 o'clock because it's a 24-hour park, and us doing the free one last night, we only have to pay once. So we've got till 10 o'clock tomorrow. This is our space. You must stay within your space. The only place you're allowed to overhang is into the back bit here where you plug in for your electric. Anyway, it's 320 knock, which is about just over 21 quid for the night for 24 hours. It gives us a chance to recharge all the batteries. The only problem with any of the sites here in Trondheim is there's no showers on this site. But we do know when we leave tomorrow, on the way out, there is a services on the motorway which has got showers, so we're going to call in there tomorrow morning and can have a proper scrub down shower. I think it's been about, I don't know, 5 days since we've had a proper shower, so, and there's flies buzzing all around Christine, so I think that's going to have to be our first port of call tomorrow morning. So proper showers, last one tonight, and then that's it. But this is our stop, so it's all right. It's not too bad. It's where all the other caravans and motorhomes are. We are walking today. We're not going to get the bikes out simply because we're forecast rain, and plus it's not raining at the moment. It'd take us 30 minutes to get the bikes off, and we could be at our first point of what we've come to look at, I suppose, in 20 minutes. The Norwegians, though, on the whole, are super fit. Everybody seems to run and cycle. It's not like all those lazy muggers, should we say. They are really good. We've just come down by, I suppose, down by the water, I suppose is the thing. We've got a view of these buildings that are pretty much on stilts. I mean, quite cool, those. I presume at some time they were like warehouses and businesses, but now they're apartments. nice, good views, them apartments. Yeah. Yeah, it was quite good, that. We've taken our walk up. I can't even remember where we're going to, the name of it. Christine doesn't know either, so we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I've set the map up for it. I've set it up for several places, so we'll onwards and upwards. Just walk down this little alleyway and there's this weird contraption which we're not really sure what it is. Very strange. Very, very strange. Yeah, weird. I think they're spinning tops. And I kind of well, that is weird. That is really freaking me out. That is so strange. Wow. Yeah, that's very different. But there, I'm pretty sure that they were spinning tops, and the piece of art up on the wall as well. That's quite cool. Yeah, we've just figured out that the actual dome is a planetarium. Yeah, just something we found by accident and randomly, just like this fella playing the violin. Not sure who he is either, but probably a famous person for Trondheim.
Violin person.
Yeah.
Yes. Arve Telefen.
Yeah, Arve Telefen. You might have to look him up, see how good he was. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to carry on walking down this street. We have noticed in Norway that actually a lot of shops and things don't open until sort of 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So this monument looks like he's probably a famous speed skater, I think they call him. So he's assuming that speed skating stance. So we'll have a look and see who he is. Hjalmar Andersen, Charles. Unlucky number he's got there, number 13.
Lucky for him.
Yeah. It's a nice enough town centre. Do a lot of cycling and things that they have in Norway. There's loads of bikes and scooters that you can use. One of the churches. And I don't know if you can see it, but in front, as always, if we get in nearly all towns and cities, just about everywhere we've been there's Mackie D's, but it's a nice enough town. There's a Starbucks, a sushi and buffet. This looks like the main town centre square, I think, possibly, that we're arriving into. Oh, Burger King as well. It's a nice square. Not sure who this dude is, but looks quite impressive here in the middle. See if I can find out who he is. Actually found it. His name is at the bottom. His Olad name is Olav Tryggvason. Not sure anything else about him. But it's we will be going to the cathedral later, as always. But this looks like the main town centre. There's some more art here, sculpture. We'll have a look at this. Not there's Pan, I recognise Pan. I think they're all Pan. So these are Pan in different with different instruments. Quite cool. Really nice centre of the town. We've come across this sculpture of pretty much this old woman on there. We thought, oh, I wonder who that is. Well, basically the sculpture's called Good Day. So, which is a bit strange, but there you go. Good day. Nice town square. Notice as well, each city seems to have its own drain covers, and this is this one. So they're Trondheim's drain covers. Seems a bit strange taking videos of drain covers, but it is quite cool. Oop, rubbish. Some rubbish, Christine. We see very little of it. Thought it was worth videoing it. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I can't see how he can live like that. Anyway, we're heading down to the cathedral, which is, I think that's it in front of us. There seem to be a few sculptures about. It's quite a cool one. Quite a good sculpture. Onwards and upwards towards the cathedral, which is directly in front of us. couple of cannons outside whatever this building is. The cathedral is called Nidaros Cathedral. Not really sure what that means, but we think it might be Nicholas. So we think. We've tried Google Translate, but doesn't seem to. Yeah. Yeah. So, but as usual, any of the graveyards are beautifully kept. All of them in Norway are fantastic. It's embarrassing to walk around ours, especially the ones in Bolton. But this is Nidaros Cathedral. Is it? Is it open now?
9 till 2, yeah.
Wow.
So it's there.
Well, at least it's open.
Well, it says
It's
it.
not like most that we go to. So we'll have a look inside if we can get in. So let's have a look.
Is this the entrance?
What day is it? No.
What does that say then?
We've just noticed a pink gravestone. So Rolf Klingenberg, Sophie Klingenberg. Well, never seen that before. And these are in their own little special areas. So obviously there were people of standing and money, as is always the case for churches and cathedrals. Just think we just need to find the right door. Pardon?
Just like you might have to get tickets.
This is there, look.
We'll see if we can get in first.
Behind you.
I know, we'll see if we can get in first.
I'll just have a look at the outside. The school kids that you get here, no matter what age they are so fantastically well behaved. Even the ones that are in the 13, 14 years old. But wow, that is quite a stunning front to the building. Really, it's quite nice, that. Very impressive. Very impressive. No. I think as you do for a lot of churches, you have to pay to get in, I think. So we need to go and buy some tickets. I've just noticed as well, which is kind of a bit weird, is there's this sculpture which is looking straight at the church, which is kind of a pagan sort of Aztec monument here, and I just find it a bit strange. It's outside the museum and it's looking directly at the cathedral. I just find that very different. So yeah, Christine's just gonna get some tickets, so thought I'd come over and take a look at that. This is very different. this for an organ. How fantastic is that? Wow. Now that are what you call church pipes. That is beautiful. Stunning that. Whoa. The way they've lit this up, I just think is very, very different. Beautiful. Really, really cool. I think there's the organist there. I think I'll nip round and get him. I think he's making a few mistakes, but what do I know? I mean, that's to be able to see somebody playing. Yeah, it's very cool. Actually, I'm really impressed with this. I'm really, really impressed with it. Very different. Wow. Nice. I mean, the way they've lit it up is just fantastic, stunning. Absolutely stunning. Won't interfere with whatever there's going on there. I will walk around, show a bit of respect, take my hat off, which I always used to, and now I must admit I do forget a lot. But, I think it just to say it was the largest church in Norway. Wow, this is, I didn't expect this at all. I've just noticed that I think this is all going to be on its side. I'll have to try and turn it in some way. I don't know. There's a notice of Norway, which is a Protestant country, so you're not Jesus is the main focal point, and not Mary. I think that's the big difference between Protestant and Catholic. Could be wrong. Look at the font. I mean, how beautiful is that? It's absolutely stunning.
En dit is wat er daarnaast ligt.
Absolutely stunning. Shadow spoiling it. Really nice. Really, really nice. Another look at this organ again. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. How cool is that? It's a bike, look, electric bike.
Well done, that.
Hey, how brilliant is that?
It is.
Never seen anything like that before. That's really cool. We're on our way down to the old town now, so we'll go and have a look what that's like. We did notice in Mackie D's again, everybody leaves the table absolutely immaculate. There's no need for anybody to come and clean tables at all. On the other side of the water, which we're going to have a look at in a minute, is the old town. This is what they call the Old Town Bridge.
Turn left onto Gamley Bybrue.
It is a nice town. Don't think it's in the league of Stavanger, but I suppose it's a more industrious place than Stavanger. Wow, very different. I presume that not really sure what these were for. I don't know if it's some stage they used it to raise the bridge, or possibly, and then it's just the remnants of what's left from it. But we had a look at those earlier. So this is the old town. Take a look across the other side. Really nice. This is the old town. Must admit, it's much nicer. Much nicer in the old towns, personally. Seems to be a bit more to look at. It's nicer to look at. Take a walk down there in a minute. We'll just go and have a look at this fella here. Not really sure what he's all about. Very strange. Very weird. Doesn't really say. It's as if it's a guy that did some sort of a kiosk. Not sure. Not sure. Okay. Now this strange looking contraption here that takes you up this hill there is a bike lift, so it takes your bike up for you. So you put your right foot in the start position, which is on there, look, and your bike on the road, and you have so 1 foot on the thing for the bike, 1 foot on there, and then up it takes you. It'd be great if you could see somebody use that, but that's a bike lift to get you up the hill. How clever's that? I can't see Christine being able to do that, but it'd be nice to watch somebody do it. It's only open during the summer season. There's a woman there, look, she's gone up on her own, she's got no thing. I'll give her a due. Oh, is she going to make it?
She will.
Oh, she didn't quite make it. But this is free of charge, and this is open in the summer. I kind of hoping somebody's going to come along and give us a demonstration, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Oh, there's a man coming.
No, I don't think he's coming this way. He's got an electric bike anyway. So, yeah, it's quite cool, that. And this is the top. This is where you get off it. So, I presume it's
not on a hill.
we just kind of want to see somebody come up with one to give us a chance to see how that would work. But
If not, we'll look on YouTube and put something.
yeah, maybe we'll have to have a look on YouTube and see if we can see. But oh, it's quite cool, that.
It stops on a hill.
Yeah, I know it
Has to
does.
stop on a hill.
Actually, it stops on the hill. It doesn't actually get up as far as the flat.
No.
It's a clever idea, but God, it looks
I wouldn't use
difficult to do.
it. Yeah, no way I'd use it.
Oh well. Okay, let's have a little bit of a mooch around the what's called the old town. It's really nice.
Is it worth a sale?
Pardon? Yeah?
Is it worth a sale?
Hello. Look good, that big jumper, didn't it? Big Norwegian jumper thing. Look really nice, that. It's not a car, it's one of them obesicles.
Is it obesicle?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The bird on there. Very nice part of town. Just a suburb, really, isn't it? Excuse me. Beautiful houses. And uphill again. We've done our usual walk uphill. To be fair, we're not actually got up that high. It's not too bad, but the views are really quite good. We're on our way up to have a look at that, which is actually like a fort with what looks like is a king size pigeon loft type thing. I can't think of a better word to put it, but I think it's definitely a fort, so that would have looked over the city and out to sea. Oh well, we'll go and take a look at that.
It's open.
We think that this was a dungeon. We think. It comes up as Don John, which I can only assume is dungeon, prison, maybe. I don't know, let's have a look and see if we can see anything in the window. Don't know if we can. Probably not. No, it's just electricity and stuff in there. I'll get up on the wall and have a look. Yeah, that's a good view. That's a really, really good view. Yeah, quite cool.
Star shape, isn't it?
Yeah, they do that because you can they do those shapes, so what you can do is when you've got other people that are on these sides, you've got like a crossfire.
Okay.
So like anybody who's on so what, that bit there, excuse the shaking, is shooting that way, and then anybody who's on that bit there is shooting back across, so you get a crossfire from people, which it makes it a bit more potent, and they've used that pretty much all the way, and then you've got secondary guns behind, so even if they manage to overcome that bit, you've still got to do the walls higher up. But doesn't look a very inviting dungeon at all. But still, it gives you great views of the city. And I suppose anybody that's trying to attack from the river that's there, then I suppose it kind of makes it really difficult. There's some underground fortification parts to it, which I don't think we can get into. But here's one of the guns. The gun itself's probably authentic, but I don't think the carriage is. 1829, I think that says. So I suppose best part of 200 years old. Yeah, it's quite a good view, that, I must admit. I don't know if you can see the little lawnmower down there, the automatic one that cuts on its own. Everybody seems to have those lawnmowers. They're everywhere. But yeah, a good view over Trondheim. Is it Trondheim? Yeah, Trondheim. Like there's another lawnmower out here that's not moving, so we can get a bit of a closer look at it. All-wheel drive, this one, so that's what they look like. They work off GPS signals, so in effect what it does is it plots where it is, and then it cuts its own route, most efficient route, and you don't have to be there. And then when it needs to recharge, or when it needs to empty, it goes back to its home, wherever that is, and then parks itself. I'm not sure if they dump the grass or not, but they definitely go back to their own point to recharge. It's yeah, it's quite a fort. I think probably the dungeon's something that was added later, I would have thought, or was used later. There's kind of a house in here as well. Very strange. I presume that would have had something to do with the prison, maybe the prison warder's house, or the house where the prison officers stayed, lived. I don't know. I think we're going to go down and have a look underneath. I think if that's where that leads. Hopefully it's not an exit. Oh, toilets down there. That's what would have been the entrance in. There's toilets. I'm not sure what this is, but I put these mats on. It is actually quite steeper than what it looks. So we'll see what this building is. Oh, it basically takes you out. It's just like another entrance in. Oh, it's an entrance into the fort. Going back in again?
Yeah, in a minute.
Oh, I've got some more modern guns up here. I wonder if they're ever fired. I'll have a closer look at them in a minute. It's quite a cool fort. All of the guns are roughly the same age, 1828, 1829. I've been looking at the dates on them, and that's what they're all stamped with, so there's no reason to not believe that these are the original ones from here. Okay, we'll have a look around at the three modern or modern-ish guns. I've no idea how modern they are. They're kept undercover, so it looks like they're probably something that can still be used, maybe are from time to time, I don't know, for marking some event, who knows. There are 3 of them, so I suppose it's possible to do what, like 21 gun salute thing or whatever it is. 3's going to 21 if my maths are quite good, or not that bad. Look pretty cool. So let's have a closer look. Yeah, they're not yeah. Keep them under cover. I have a sneaky feeling that this has got something to do with the Second World War, and being as it's all new concrete and you've got this on it, so there would have been some big gun on this emplacement up here, probably what the Germans may have put on, who knows, I don't know, but certainly pointing out towards the sea. Good view. And these are 1819, I think that one is. They're all dated to roughly the same era. Oh, 1839, it's quite a new one, that one. What we've found are some information about this place, this fort, and we're going to put that on now for you. So there's a few bits and pieces, bit of history. Hope you find it interesting. There you go.
The fortress, as you see it today, consists of the keep in the middle, surrounded by a star-shaped wall, with the main gate facing east. QR codes have been posted in numerous places throughout the fortress, and by scanning these QR codes with a smartphone, you can learn more about its history. Just inside the inner gate, you can listen to the story about the background of the construction, by scanning QR code number 2. Inside the keep, there is a museum, and if you scan the QR code number 3 there, you will find out more about this building. To the right, inside the gate, is the courthouse where Norwegian patriots were executed during the occupation from 1940 to 1945. By scanning QR code number 4, there, you can learn more about the fortress during World War II. To the left of the courthouse is the King's Casemate, the largest of the bunkers in the wall. At the entrance, you can scan QR code number 5 and learn more about the casemates. Opposite where you are standing now is Arnholt's Bastion. If you look to the east from here, you will see the road that Armfeldt Caroliners used in 1718. Please scan QR code number 6 there to hear more information. The white brick building next to the keep is the commandant's residence, and if you scan the QR code there you will get information about the building and its use. By scanning QR code number 8, on the walls, you can hear about the development of the fortress and all its parts. There were several smaller fortifications on the outside of the fortress, and by scanning QR code number 9 there you can learn more about these. South of the fortress is the Long White Orbit magazine. This was used as a prison by the Germans during the occupation. Please scan QR code number 10 there for more information. At the mound, which hides the remains of the bastion, you can find out more about its little-known history by scanning QR code number 11. Denmark dominated the Nordic countries in the Middle Ages, but by the 17th century, Sweden became a European superpower, and Denmark constantly lost territory to Sweden. Both Jämtland and Härjedalen were lost, and in 1657 the whole of Trøndelag was lost, and it had to be recaptured the following year. In 1660 the construction of the fortifications on Munkholmen began. Only after the Great City Fire in 1686 began the construction of Christiansten Fortress, which became the city's great protector for the next 100 years. The fortress was closed as a fortification in 1816, but it was allowed to retain its role as a fire station, flag hoisting station and salute station, in addition to a military magazine and base. The dominant location secured Christiansten's great symbolic value, and fittingly enough, the first pure Norwegian flag was hoisted here on the dissolution of the Union with Sweden in 1905. The fortress was not just to be a place for hosting parties and other engagements. In 1923, the city was shaken by a great tragedy when a gunpowder magazine blew up, and a mother of a small child was killed by the stones that hailed down over the buildings west of the walls. Also, during the German occupation from 1940 until 1945, Norwegian patriots were executed here by the Nazis. In 1949, the area was open to the public, and today Christiansten is again a venue for holidays and celebrations, including as a salute fortress that pays homage to our royals when they visit the city. The property is currently owned by the state and the Ministry of Defense and managed by Forsvarsbygg. Christiansten Fortress is a tower fortress, which means that the main gun is in a multi-story tower, which in French is called a donjon and in English is called a keep. Christiansten is also Norway's only intact tower fortress from the 17th century, built mainly of natural stone, and built directly on rock. The keep had 2 powder cellars that have now been refurbished and can be used for events. Above the vaults lay the commandant's apartment. The 2nd and 3rd floors had batteries with cannon and gunfire positions. From the top floor, the guard station could observe most of the city and the immediate area around the fortress. After the fortress was decommissioned in 1816, the keep was still in use as a gunpowder magazine, but from 1820, gunpowder was replaced by grain. In 1875, it was back to storing gunpowder again, and the accidental explosion in 1923 led to the keep being equipped to store ammunition. The Germans also stored ammunition in the building during World War II. Today, the keep serves as a fortress museum that tells Christiansten's history from the construction in 1681 until today. The Germans used the fortress during the years of occupation from 1940 until 1945. Air defense cannons were set up north and south of the keep. The concrete position in the north still stands today. The keep was converted into an ammunition depot, and a new storage room was built under the Queen's Bastion, south of the keep. The fortress area was covered by barracks. South of the fortress was a massive concrete bunker with 2 antennas protruding. From here, the Germans kept in touch with submarines that operated out in the Atlantic Ocean. Today, there is a kindergarten on top of the bunker. In 1942, the Germans used Christiansten as a place for executions. One of the casemates became a dungeon where the death row inmates spent the last night before being shot. A total of 30 Norwegian patriots were executed at Christiansten, in addition to an unknown number of Russians and Polish. Today, the courthouse is a memorial site. Every year on the 8th of May, a memorial service is held, and a wreath is laid at the site. The names of the Norwegian patriots who were executed are inscribed in a memorial plaque in the chapel. After the war, traitors who were sentenced to death were also executed at Christiansten, but not in the same place. The bomb-proof rooms inside the fortress walls are called casemates. The word comes from Latin or Italian and means covered house. The development of large bombers, so-called siege mortars, forced the construction of bomb-proof underground spaces throughout the 18th century. The casemates on Christiansted were built into the new Crown Prince's Bastion in the 1740s under the reign of King Frederick V, who also has his mirrored monogram over the keystone on the main gate. In addition to the staff rooms, the casemates were also used as gunpowder chambers and magazines. A smithy, and the smallest casemate, the one next to the main gate, was used as a detention cell. Engineer Major North, Engineer Wilster and Mason Banch were responsible for the redevelopment but did such a poor job that they ended up being fined. The fines were used to repair the damage they had caused. The casemates were restored in 1997 and are today used as chapels, function rooms and warehouses. The only time Christiansted Fortress was close to being tested was in 1718. At the end of the Great Nordic War, Charles XII of Sweden tried to take Norway. After being driven back in 1716, he tried again in 1718. This time he sent 10,000 men under Lieutenant General Carl Gustaf Armfeldt into Trøndelag. They reached Trondheim on the 15th of November, and the fortress opened fire on Swedish cavalry at Barky Farm, and covered Norwegian dragoons' withdrawal some 4 days later, with the Swedes on their heels. Armfeldt withdrew to the south, and retreated around Christmas time when they learned that Charles XII had died at Fredrikstad Fortress in Halden. As they were crossing the border mountains from Tydal, they were hit by a terrible snowstorm, and around 3,000 Swedish soldiers died. The commandant's residence were representative and stately buildings where the commanders, who were trained in painting, dance and music, were the leading figure in social life, and where the officers brought new customs and ideals to the local communities. The commandant at Christiansted was originally housed in the keep, but in 1696 he got his own commandant's residence with a separate guardhouse, a so-called quarter guard, both built of timber. Both buildings were later demolished, and new ones built of masonry. However, they were in such poor condition by the end of the 19th century that they were rebuilt and used for a variety of other purposes, from a laboratory producing gunpowder and packaged ammunition, to a radio station in 1931, and then to the residence of the foreman who was responsible for the maintenance of the facility, to the cafe in 1995 to 1996. After the reorganization of the armed forces in the early 2000s, the commandant is responsible for the military activity at the fortress, such as flagging, saluting, memorial services and historical commemorations. In 2005, the commandant's residence was restored to its original splendor and is today furnished as a restaurant. Medieval fortresses had high walls and towers, but, because of the introduction of the cannons in the 15th century, this made them vulnerable. A new type of fortress saw the light of day, with low, thicker walls, often called star fortresses. When a new fortress was to be built to protect Trondheim, it was also built in the same style. Christiansted Fortress consists of several parts, called bastions, batteries, tunnels, fortifications and redoubts. They were built and rebuilt in several rounds. Parts of the King's Bastion are from the original fortifications from the 1680s, but took their current form from 1745 to 1747. The Crown Prince's Bastion is the central element in the northern part of the fortress, built from 1745 until 1748. A fire hydrant was also installed on the battery, equipped with a fire flag and lantern. Arnold's Battery is an open work that covers the eastern side of the dungeon. The battery is probably named after Field Marshal Hans Jacob Arnold, and was built between 1745 and 1748. The tunnel was part of the original star-shaped part of the fortress wall. The lower tunnel was probably built during the rebuilding of the works to the north, between 1745 and 1748, and is today a place for growing plants that are rare in Norway today, mainly due to the degradation of the cultural landscape. The plants here have adapted to the soil slopes and mounds in that they need a lot of light, heat and dry conditions. In 2003, vegetation and soil were designated protected species in connection with the restoration of the fortress wall. Smaller outbuildings were built around the main fortress to cover blind spots. Gruna's fortification, east of the main gate, was built in 1691, consisted of earthen ramparts and was open to the fortress so that it could not be used against the defenders if it was captured from here. The defenders could shoot along the escarpment, the wall, as we see it today. Frolich's fortification, north of the fortress, was also built in 1691. From here, a besieging enemy could shoot in over the walls of the main fortress, which made the hill important to defend. The remains of the fort that are preserved are clearly visible in the terrain. Molenberg Fort was the largest outpost, and was closer to the town where the apartment building Port Arthur was later built. This consisted of earthen embankments and was equipped with 6-pound cannons. The Hobbits magazine was built in 1918 to store the large howitzers of Artillery Regiment 3. A howitzer cannon is a curved path weapon that fires a grenade in a large arc, which is suitable for firing over fortress walls or at high positions. The building is not part of the fortification itself but shows how the military typically reuse a fortification. The Hobbits magazine was added to and rebuilt as a prison with 56 cells during World War II, and several barracks, so-called German barracks, were built in the area around the magazine. There must have been room for 400 prisoners at Hobbits magazine when it was used after the war as a Norwegian military prison, and as a relief for Vollen prison, which was full on the occasion of the treason settlement. After the settlement, the cells were demolished, and the building converted into a warehouse and offices in the mid-1950s. After this, the Trøndelag Liaison Battalion moved into the premises. The barracks have since been demolished. Hobbits magazine has 2 floors and a floor area of 400 square meters and is today mainly used as a function room in connection with the operation of the restaurant in Commandant's residence. On the mound south of the fortress was Kristiansand's Bastion, completed in 1691. The mound it is located on is higher than the fortress itself, and here an enemy could shoot in over the walls of the main fortress and was therefore important to fortify. Kristiansand's Bastion looks quite different on various maps. All show a pentagonal bastion with a main firing direction to the southeast and a ravelin at the front. On a map from 1791, it appears that there was a total of 16 cannons distributed on 4 batteries here, but it is uncertain whether Kristiansand's Bastion was ever so well equipped. Sometime before 1730, the bastion was closed off towards the main fortress, but connected to it via a narrow road, with ramparts on both sides. In the 1770s, the casemates were refurbished, probably to provide a more solid foundation for larger and heavier cannons. When Kristiansand Fortress lost its operational status in 1816, Kristiansand's Bastion was left to decay. Some of the stones from the bastion have probably been removed for use as building material elsewhere. During World War II, the Germans roughly positioned themselves on the mound where the bastion lay and erected an antenna on it. Today, no visible stone walls have been preserved, but the vaulted cellar is still preserved. A hole in the ground shows the way down to the room. Kristiansand Fortress is still a military area today, and it is often used for celebrations and cultural events under the guidance of the armed forces. The area turned into a cultural park with large and small festivals, concerts, and sports events. In the Commandant's residence there is a restaurant, and function rooms in historical surroundings can be rented for private individuals or for company gatherings. The gunpowder cellar and the chapel are a favorite place for weddings, with the wedding party being held in the Hobbit magazine. The park is a favorite recreation area for the city's population, and the unique biological diversity in the fortress area is taken care of through a cultural preservation order. The fortress is one of Norway's 14 national fortifications and is a cultural monument that we want to preserve for later generations. Therefore, it is important that you have respect for the buildings and outdoor areas, show caution when moving around the area and comply with the rules of conduct. There are high, unsecured walls built on rock and rocky ground. Through careful and respectful behavior, you will contribute to everyone having a great experience when they visit the fortress. The experience of being in a unique place like Kristiansten Fortress can quickly be destroyed by littering and unintentional damage. There is therefore a year-round fire ban, which also applies to disposable grills. There is also dog leash restraint at the fortress all year round. We ask you to throw all waste and dog bags in the rubbish bins provided. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, on the 12th of May 1923, 250 kilograms of explosives stored in the Crown Prince's Bastion exploded. A large breach was torn in the wall, and large boulders were thrown far and wide. A 15-kilogram rock is said to have ended up in Nedrebak Land at 54, over 350 meters away. Smaller rocks were also found Jopmansgata on the other side of the river, a full 600 meters away from the explosion site, and window panes were blown in within a 1-kilometer radius. The worst destruction was at the wooden houses on Pappenheim. Several houses had their roofs pierced by stones. A total of 20 houses were hit, 10 of them severely damaged. In General Badersgate, 3 to 4 houses were completely destroyed. In house number 8, a woman was killed whilst sleeping with her 2 youngest children in bed. She was home visiting after emigrating to America. In another house, where 6 people lived, a woman and a boy of around 15 years of age were badly injured. One of the women in this house had to amputate her foot. The cause of the explosion was never known, but the accident led to a vigorous review of routines for storing explosives in the armed forces, and it ended up that explosives were no longer stored together with igniters. The officers' school was started in 1900, as the barracks with classrooms for the artillery's chief constable school in Trondheim, in Smaberget beside Kristiansten Fortress. In 1911, a new side wing was built to the south. In the same year, the non-commissioned officers' school moved in, but they continued teaching in Munkegata. The chief constable school was decommissioned the following year. In 1940, the non-commissioned officers participated in the battles in Nord-Trøndelag. On the 10th of February, 1941, a British Bristol Blenheim bomber was shot down and tore parts of the roof with it before it crashed into a block of flats next to it. The flight crew of 3 was killed, but amazingly no Norwegians died. In 1946, the school was resumed as a 5th Division school, and in 1968 the Commandant's School for the Infantry in Trøndelag was established, and the teaching moved up from Munkegata. The officers' school was closed down in 2002 and sold to Trondheim Council in 2021. The southern side of the city centre bears the mark of being a constant military historical cultural landscape. Between the cathedral and Nidelva lies Norway's best preserved medieval complex, the Archbishop Residence. After the Reformation in 1537, the king took over and the name King's Residence was adopted. The facility was also called Trondheim Armory. Cannons, bullets and gunpowder were stored here in grand medieval halls until the 20th century, when the military gradually withdrew from the King's Residence, leaving behind names on the buildings such as the Lavet House, the Field Artillery Wing, and the Artillery Building. The commander's mess at Prince Karl's Bastion was built by the Germans in 1942. The large white magazine building, the district's engineer's office, residence, and the hen house are the last of a long line of military buildings and bastions between Old City Bridge and Elgseter Bridge, called Marinen, after the naval base they were originally a part of. The military historical cultural landscape ends at Skansporten in the west. Here, the King and Queen's bastions guarded the only land-based access to the city. The mighty ramparts from the 17th century are still clearly visible. There is also the military hospital built in the 1820s, now taken over by the Justice Museum. Artillery Regiment No. 3 also had its offices here in the post-war period and until its closure in 1995.
Back down to the old town again. Just gonna have a little bit of a walk around. There was somebody at the bottom of the hill, a local, and I think everybody stopped to watch to see if he was going to get on it and have a go up the hill, but he said he tried it once and people videoed him doing it and he fell, well, arse of a tit I think is the word. There's a free library there. Used to have one of those in Wilby, free library. So, it's quite nice walking through the old towns of Norway. Very nice. Let's have a look at the river again from this front bit here. Kind of reminds me of Amsterdam in a way, with the bikes and this the river running through. It does have that Amsterdam feel to it. Apart from you'd be looking across at the brothels, that would be the big difference. There's the old town bridge. That was quite nice, really nice. I think I like the fact that they've paved the bit where the cycles can go on the road. Hey? So you don't have to do the cobbles. Because cobbles are awful. Oh, his back wheel's wobbling a little bit. It's much nicer walking through the old town than through the main part of town. Much nicer. Although they look like it's corrugated steel, it's actually wood. But it's nice, really nice. It's clean. good. I'll do this first. So they're quite nice looking houses. And they're pretty, they're only small though. But looks really nice. I think that's pretty much the end of the old town, to be fair. Never seen that before. That's a double bendy bus. We've seen a bendy bus, but I've never seen one that's a double one. And I think it's electric as well. So that's quite new. Never see, yeah, it's electric, you can't hear it. Well, really knew that. We're back into the new town now. We did notice, although I didn't video it, a little bit of graffiti, but well, it was only a bit, it wasn't a lot. More than we've seen anywhere else, but nowhere near what we'd see in, I don't know, France, Belgium, Germany, I don't know, any of the other European countries. So do like the electric though. And that one was a diesel one though. And there's a view again. We seem to have zigzagged across this a little bit. But, it's been nice. So we just spied that weird looking thing down there, which we're going to have a look at. Not got a clue what it is. They will spin with the wind, so I don't know whether they use them for any form of power, maybe for a light or something, who knows. Yeah, I think it might power a light when it's turning fast enough, but that's a bit strange, to say the least. Anyway, we'll go and have a look at it. You can get the ferry from here. Not sure where the ferry goes to be fair. I'm not even sure what this is, but we'll have a look. It's I don't know, but it definitely echoes. Bit weird that. Not really sure what it is. The shell here. Huh? Quite cool. Look at that for a strange building. It's an hotel, but look at the windows. How strange is that? I've never seen windows like that before. That is really weird. Really weird.